Reading the lawsuit. Sex assault allegations against Shannon Sharpe. Filed April 20th, 2025. In the 8th Judicial District Court of the State of Nevada, in and for the County of Clark, Jane Doe, an individual, plaintiff, versus Shannon Sharpe, an individual, defendant. Case number A 25-9172-46. Original complaint and jury demand. Plaintiff Jane Doe complains of Defendant Shannon Sharpe, and for cause of action, would respectfully show this honorable court the following. A woman can say yes to consensual sexual relations with a man 99 times, but when she says no, even once, that no means no. Defendant Shannon Sharpe, a man who is accustomed to getting what he wants, completely fails to understand this basic concept. After many months of manipulating and controlling plaintiff, a woman more than 30 years younger than he, and repeatedly threatening to brutally choke and violently slap her, Sharpe refused to accept the answer no and raped plaintiff, despite her sobbing and repeated screams of no. Defendant Shannon Sharpe is a 56-year-old former NFL superstar. He claims to be one of the most successful sports media personalities in the country. Plaintiff is a young woman in her early 20s. In 2023, plaintiff was working out at a gym in Los Angeles, California, when Sharpe approached her for the first time. Previously, Doe had noticed Sharpe watching her during her workouts. At this time, Doe was just 19 years old. She didn't know who he was, only that he was another older man ogling her at the gym. Doe could tell Sharpe was much older than her. She found him physically intimidating. Eventually, he introduced himself. At his determined insistence, she gave him her number. Over the next couple of weeks, Sharpe incessantly pursued plaintiff. He constantly approached her at the gym and attempted to contact her frequently with phone calls and text messages asking to meet up, unwilling to take no for an answer. Eventually, plaintiff gave in and agreed to meet with Sharpe outside of the gym. However, before doing so, Sharpe demanded that Doe sign a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, something plaintiff found a bit concerning. She wondered why Sharpe was so insistent on her signing an NDA. She refused. Despite his repeated efforts to get her to sign, she refused time and again. Eventually, he dropped the issue and invited her to his house. What followed was the beginning of a rocky consensual relationship that lasted nearly 2 years. The relationship was very unequal. Sharpe is more than 30 years older, is considerably wealthier, physically much larger, and exponentially stronger. Sharpe is famous and has power. Plaintiff and Sharpe saw each other on his terms and on his schedule, as often as 4 times a week. Over time, plaintiff began to see Sharpe's true nature. She found him to be dishonest about his whereabouts. He would lie about seeing other women while insisting to her that they were exclusive. He often manipulated her, at times being sweet and loving to get what he wanted, and at other times being angry and aggressive to achieve his goals. She discovered over time that Sharpe was extremely emotional and possessed an uncontrollable temper. He displayed the characteristics of a true narcissist. He wielded his power, his influence, and his celebrity to control plaintiff and get exactly what he wanted, whenever he wanted it, all the while jealously guarding what he considered his for himself. By October 2024, Sharpe's behavior had grown progressively worse. At this point, he was insistent upon recording their sexual activities, sometimes without her knowledge. Sharpe was also sharing the videos with others, without her permission or knowledge. Sharpe would repeatedly tell Doe that he wanted to do to her things that would make no other man want her. He could no longer maintain any illusion of exclusivity. He had at this point, accidentally or purposely to advance his career, gone live on Instagram while having sex with another woman. Sharpe flew into fits of anger when plaintiff noted his infidelity or called him out about his extraneous activities. What had once been manipulation, control, and intimidation now became something far more dangerous and sinister. Sharpe even figured out how to get into Doe's apartment complex without her permission. He made it clear that what Doe wanted was irrelevant, that Sharpe would get what he wanted when he wanted it. In October 2024, Shannon Sharpe violently sexually assaulted and anally raped plaintiff 2 different times in Las Vegas, Nevada, blatantly ignoring her requests for him to stop. He did it again in January. Plaintiff left Nevada to temporarily escape defendant Shannon Sharpe. She now seeks justice through this action and other means. Plaintiff seeks compensatory and punitive damages in this matter in excess of $50 million. Defendant Shannon Sharpe is a former NFL superstar and a well-known sports media personality. After a 14-season career in the NFL, he is considered by some to be one of the greatest tight ends of all time. He is a 3-time Super Bowl champion and was recently inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Upon retirement, Sharpe transitioned into sports broadcasting, quickly achieving success in the industry. Sharpe spent several years at CBS Sports before moving to Fox, where over a decade he built a reputation for his strong opinions and hot takes. In 2023, Sharpe joined ESPN, where he remains employed today. In addition to working at ESPN's First Take, Sharpe hosts his own widely followed podcast, interviewing high-profile athletes, entertainers, and public figures. Sharpe claims he made as much as $6 million from one episode of his podcast, and is alleged to be signing a multi-million-dollar deal with the Volume Media Group. Sharpe's legacy extends beyond the field and media, and in one glaring area, it is not good. Sharpe has a documented history of abusing and mistreating women. As an example, he is currently a defendant in a lawsuit before the Supreme Court of New York, facing claims from a woman of intentional infliction of emotional distress, among other allegations. Many of the factual allegations in the New York case are eerily similar to his actions toward plaintiff here. According to the New York lawsuit, Sharpe forcefully subdued the plaintiff in that case, forcing her to her knees and subjecting her to non-consensual oral sex, despite her repeated protests. When she resisted, he persisted. He would not take no for an answer. The plaintiff therein feared for her safety, just as plaintiff fears for her safety now. The New York lawsuit further alleges that Sharpe escalated to non-consensual vaginal penetration, all while telling her that he would make it so no other man would want her. These words were apparently not a one-time thing. Plaintiff herein, too, has heard Sharpe say those exact words to her. In September 2024, Sharpe live-streamed himself on accident having sex with a woman. Upon information and belief, he did so on purpose to seek media exposure and to attract social media views and attention. To live-stream himself, he would have had to deliberately swipe right on Instagram to activate the live feed. Sharpe claims it was accidental. However, discreetly recording sex, without his partner's knowledge, is something he is known to do. He did so with the plaintiff herein. Plaintiff discovered that Sharpe had been secretly recording their sexual encounters without her consent. When she confronted him, he summarily dismissed her concerns, claiming the videos were for his own personal use. That, too, was a lie. Upon information and belief, Sharpe on multiple occasions shared the recordings with his friends and associates. At one point, he even forced plaintiff to have sex with him while FaceTiming one of his childhood friends named Bucket. Whenever plaintiff would get up the courage to object to Sharpe's outrageous conduct, which was not often, he would aggressively and angrily put her back in her place. Plaintiff alleges Shannon Sharpe isn't just a sports icon, he's something far worse. He is a flawed, narcissistic individual who has spent years using his fame, power, and influence to manipulate, control, subjugate, and violate women. With this suit, plaintiff intends to put an end to this egregious conduct.